Oh,
Hello and welcome to, I think we're about episode 6 now of the Climate Adaptation Show. I'm really, really pleased with today's guest. So we're going to get straight into it. We've got a whole load of questions we're going to ask. We'll just get into it and see where we go. Dr. Tan, absolutely brilliant for you to be here on the Climate Adaptation Show. You've been at the forefront of integrating solar technology into rooftops and into houses for, it must be 2 decades now.
well, nearly. Yeah.
Very close to
Look
2
at my
decades.
hairstyle.
You're losing your hair. You're losing your hair. So, you're at the forefront of making solar not just functional but beautiful as well. Because there was an article yesterday in the EDP about a housing developer, 60 houses, put planning in with the solar, and he's got the planning permission. He's no longer doing the solar because they're ugly. Right. In his mind, they're big and bulky and ugly. So, can you give our listeners and viewers a snapshot of your journey and what brought you into solar technologies?
Right.
What
okay.
brought you in?
Yeah. No. Well, first of all, thank you very much, Kevin, for having me.
Well, great to come out on a Saturday morning.
Indeed, absolutely.
And you thought the traffic would be clear. There was hold-ups and roadblocks and diversions.
No, I enjoy the countryside.
You've got no choice. Really. But you're a pleasure to have you here.
No, thank you very much. So my journey into solar actually was a twist. I wasn't started, with the solar industry. In fact,
you're a doctor.
Yeah, well, engineering, a PhD.
Right.
Yeah,
okay.
so I studied the doctor is a PhD. So when I finished my study, I started in a company called Biorobotics. So Biorobotics was a company that designed automations for DNA sequencing and stuff like that. So at that time, well, by the way, my PhD was about design manufacturing engineering. So it's got nothing to do with solar, but the common thing is engineering.
Yeah.
So I joined this company called Biorobotics. And then 2 of the directors of that company, so Stuart and Martin, they started another company called Viridian Solar. So at that time, they say, well, why don't you come and join me? So at that time, I was made redundant by Biorobotics. Right. So why not? It seems like interesting projects. And I got no other job.
Viridian's a great name in our industry, though, isn't it? I mean, it's one of those, Suki?
Yeah, I know Suki.
So Suki, he's quite fundamental to the Solar Nation project we're doing. Working very closely with him. He worked for Viridian for a while.
Yes, he did.
I think he was one of the first salesmen to come and visit me here when I opened the solar shed.
Really?
When he was working for you guys.
I see.
He bought his little briefcase and all the different bits and pieces. And it was just before I had my solar, and I wanted it in my roof.
Right. But
my roof bowls and it just wasn't going to you can't put rectangles into a roof that's got curves. It can't happen.
No.
But there's a lot of new build stuff, isn't there, Viridian?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, tell the people what Viridian is. What is Viridian?
Well, at Viridian, we specialize in roof integrated PV. In particularly for the new build market. So we got a product Clear Line Fusions. So that is specially designed so that for the mainstream market. So if I went back to the story that I started just now, so at Viridian Solar, we started a bit like yourself, Kevin. We started at solar thermal. Because as a group of engineers, why not? Solar thermal essentially is about 3 times more efficient than solar PV in terms of the conversion rate, how to convert the solar energy into the useful energy. So we started with solar thermal. So to cut the story short, in 2009, 2010, we started to move into PV, and now we are 100% PV. But the philosophy of the company remained the same, which is how do we make solar the mainstream products? How do they make it, part of the building fabric?
Because solar itself is always even today with some developers, it's seen as a ticky box retrofit, just to tick a box. Whereas you work with the developers, with the manufacturers. You are a manufacturer, aren't you?
We are manufacturers. Yeah, we
design a British company manufacturing solar panels for over 20 years.
Well, very few people know about it.
Let's shout about it. The more we shout, look, there's going to be Daily Mail readers, and they're going to see this and read this, and hear this, and they're going to go, "What? A British company making solar?" That will blow their tiny minds because they believe that we don't make anything in this country. And you're testament that we do.
Well, we when we design and manufacture the solar thermos. Our factories near Cambridge, so we make them there. And then the PV as well, the early stage. And now we do contract manufacturing, but it's contract manufacturing to our design.
Yeah.
So essentially, is our design and it's our manufacturers. Our salespeople like to say it's a bit like apples. You design in California and then make in somewhere else. Similar thing, but we are essentially, a completely UK based company.
That's really good. That's really good. But most of the market is, you must have, 1/3 of all solar installations in the UK are on the new build properties. You must have quite a share of.
Well, because
Scotland. I used to follow Jamie.
Yes.
Yeah, on LinkedIn and Twitter, and he does his Fusion Friday posts and everything. Yes. So he was really good in the early days of social media. Really good. That's how I found everyone through social media.
Indeed.
In fact, our network, the Solar Nation Network, we were originally mates from Twitter and LinkedIn. That's how it all started years ago. Just passing work to each other.
Sure.
And Jamie was really good. And then all of a sudden, it was pre-COVID, it must have been 2018, 19, maybe a little bit earlier, started seeing a lot of posts coming out of Belgium and Holland, and you're getting into the Bellino countries, and I think Sweden as well. There's quite a lot.
The Scandinavian country.
You started to go in. And is that all new builds?
Not necessary. So in in the UK, our main market is new build, but in other markets, for example, European market, we are not choosy. So it can go in any other markets. Yeah.
So I've from a designer, solar designer's point of view, when I'm doing consultations for a house, you look at the house, you look at the roof size. I always had a problem with trying to adapt the in-roof and Viridian onto older houses because of the problem. I do a lot of older period properties, hard to reach ones, slate roofs and things. It hasn't been designed specifically for new builds, but that's where it works best, isn't it? That's where it works best.
Well, it works best for new build beside the flatness of the roof.
That's it. It's all about
the flatness of the roof is brand new. There are other logical reasons as well. For example, if you start from a brand new house, why do you even put tiles on it?
Exactly.
Right? So why do you need roof covering, right? It makes no sense.
So when you work with the designer of the roof, do you work with the architects on the size of the roof? Or do you manufacture your panels to their build size, or is it just a bit of luck? Because I've seen some roofs where it is gable to gable, all solar.
Well, I wish we can customize our panel for each house builder, but it's not. Because of economy of scale. Well, since you mentioned this, Kevin, I think house builder now or any designer, architects, when they design a house, you got some standard people consider. Okay, the window size, there are certain standard size. So when you design your windows and door, you take that into account.
Yes.
Now, when people design roof, they should take solar panel into account as well.
Oh, for sure. I'm a big fan of some of the things. Things that I've been saying quietly for years, because I'm just one bloke in a shed. When you hear people with an industry voice saying exactly the same thing, that is really nice. And one of the things, there's not many, but one of the things I really like about Greg Jackson is that he started talking about mono-pitched roofs. It's hard work to get architects and developers into the mindset of mono-pitched roofs. I'm a big fan of everything should be east and west facing. For me, instead of generating a whole load of energy in the middle of the day that we can't use, let's generate it at the time of the day when most people are using it. That's ideal. But mono-pitched roofs, rather than doing north and south faced, just have a higher north facing wall, and then years ago, houses like mine, they would have had. The north-facing wall would have been smaller and the roof would have been longer on the north-facing because that was all about the weather and bigger windows on the south-facing to let more light in and things like that. In the old, go back hundreds of years on houses. But today's houses aren't quite built for the environment like that, are they?
No.
And if you've got a smaller south-facing roof, wall, because the roof is longer, then you're going to get less heat coming into the house for that passive solar gain as well. So there's got to be a trade-off somewhere. But I'm a big fan of getting as much solar as possible, much greater than the demand of the house. Not just for the homeowner to get money, but to support the grid, and it can help balance the grid at times of need as well, can't it?
Indeed, absolutely. Well, one of the motivations for new builds usually is by regulations. So when the future home standard come along, so that will set the standard of how much PV that people have to put on the roof. But again, just reiterate the point that I mentioned. I think modern architects should treat solar panel as everyday life products.
It's a building material, not an additional that they've got.
Right.
Oh God, I've got to tick a box.
Absolutely.
Who do we
Absolutely.
Get in?
Yeah.
Oh, it only needs 4 panels.
Yeah.
No. But that's what no, it's not what it needs. That's what your design says. What that family needs is adequate energy provision. And I fear that there's a lot of ticky box stuff going on. So, but at the same time, for every panel that goes up, it encourages somebody else to put another panel up. So even if you've only got 4 panels on a new build, it's better than not having 4 panels.
I like that attitude.
Well, I mean, it's sad, but we've got to accept every win. Every panel is a win. The way I look at it is every panel that goes up stops the ice from melting, and it means that these little flippy flappy fellas can stay where they should be.
Yes.
Instead of coming over here taking up all our jobs.
But
you know what I mean? If we can save the ice from melting, but also what somebody suggested when we do these podcasts, I have a little bullet.
Right. A real bullet?
Yeah. Well, it would be a shell.
Okay.
And I says, what he says, because you've always been going on, Kev, about stopping the oil wars, which is why I got into solar, because during the Iraq years, I was on oil for my boiler.
So the Gulf War.
All of that. That's when I got into solar.
Yeah.
So I'm still living that in my head.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to stop the oil wars and save penguins.
Yeah.
And he says, because every panel that goes up potentially could stop another bullet being fired.
Right.
Why do we go to war in the Middle East? It's to secure oil and petrol at £1.40 a litre.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Amazing.
So you launch your weapon of mass destruction, your solar revolution.
Do you know what? I've never thought about solar as a mass construction. I think mass destruction. It's to stop the weapons of mass destruction.
Absolutely.
Isn't it? It's exactly what we're doing.
Yeah.
So the design philosophy behind what Viridian are doing was about making solar beautiful. It is. So, okay, I'm a bit of a purist, and it's mainly from self-taught. So I spend a lot of time looking at my own systems, temperature variations, and I know that when panels are cooler, they're more efficient.
Absolutely.
I'm not big on efficiencies nowadays. I know that's where the industry's always trying to drive. You know, we've got the same panels as what we had when they were 250 watts. They're now 400 watts or 450 watts, virtually the same size.
Yes.
But we get so much energy over the course of a day, and at certain times of the year, how many panels you got, you're not going to get much energy. We're coming into that time of the year. I'm not one for that little 0.4 of an efficiency, so I'm not as anal about it anymore.
Yeah.
But do you have any innovation or anything that you've added to increase the airflow? Because when panels get hot over 23, or when silicon gets over 23 degrees, you lose a little bit of efficiency. So how do you compensate for that with the Viridian system?
Well, some of the obvious answer from the industry is people go for PVTs. You know, you actively cool down the panels.
Right. So PVT is where we have a series of pipes behind the panels,
it, or you can blow. So that is using liquid.
So you take the heat away and you use the heat in something else.
That's right.
What about in the middle of summer? What are we going to use?
No, it doesn't. So this is not our approach. So we don't things that works, or even things that it doesn't work. But since you mentioned the temperature coefficients, so for roof integrated, naturally the ventilation is less. Hence the question that you asked here. I just want to point out that we actually had run a research with University of Cambridge a few years ago. You know, with coming from a sort of academic backgrounds, you know, we like to get the answer precisely. What is it? So I can give you the numbers. The number is, on average, depending on the cell technologies, we are talking about 0.4 to 0.5% of a power drop per centigrade that going out.
Yeah.
But over the year, how much is it? So that's an interesting question. So we run the experiment. I can give you the answer straight away. The answer is that over the whole year, we are talking about 2.5%, 3% of power loss, or power, you know, that could have been done if you don't do the roof integrated system.
So that was done at certain temperatures. But we're now hitting 1.5 degree and we're being warned that we're going to hit 2 degree.
Yeah.
So our average temperature is going to rise. I mean, I used to get really anal about it. That's why I set my water cooling system up and I experiment to drop the temperature.
Yeah.
And that increases but also when I'm dropping the temperature on mine, I'm spraying water over mine.
Yes.
And what that also does is scatters the photons. So the light is like, the photons are jiggering, if you know what I mean. They're getting light from every angle because it's not coming directly straight in. I'm putting that cloud of moisture in front of it and that scatters the light. So I increase the efficiency. So mine isn't as scientific. It's just, I'm looking at outputs.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not actually measuring the light as such. Okay, so what about the engineering challenges with Viridian's product? Because you are, an integrated product. So that's, we can all put a panel into a roof with a tray or whatever. But the engineering challenges combining the waterproof, the aesthetics, and the electrical performance, there's got to be a balance between.
You need to strike a balance. I think the biggest challenge that we faced when we started the whole project was that, when people look at even solar thermal and solar PV, people look at it as a power generations device, right?
Yeah.
Most of the people treat it like that. But
when you point at the panels, what you're supposed to say is like these beautiful works of art on the wall.
Absolutely. No, this is accumulations of many years, decades of human ingenuity to come up with this solution.
It was in the 50s, wasn't it, when they started using silicon?
Yes,
for Telstar and the satellites, wasn't it? So that was because beforehand it was a selenium-based product, wasn't it?
It was, in the Bell Laboratory in American was the first one that tried to use it in the modern days that we see today.
Because the first patent for photovoltaic cells was around about 1883.
Oh, it was way back. It was way back, and the photo electrics effect that we see here has been understood long time ago.
Oh yeah.
In fact, Einstein, tried to explain it. This is what he got his Nobel Prize.
But Tesla, he was. He died penniless, didn't he? But you look at the life of Tesla, and what he discovered about ancient civilizations.
Yeah.
There's theories out there. Academic research, carbon dating of artifacts, that the pharaohs, those pyramids weren't built as tombs for pharaohs. They were built as something else, and they just, then 4,000 years ago, pharaohs were buried in them,
right?
As if they were discovered for that. But the way that they're structured with the quartz, quartz. That amount of quartz, the pressure on the quartz in those pyramids, that is generated some form of energy. We've got quartz watches, haven't we?
Yep.
And these pyramids all over the world, they're doing LiDAR now in the Amazon rainforest, and they're finding whole cities that have been completely overgrown with the Amazon rainforest. People are saying that the Amazon rainforest, a lot of that area was actually once farmed.
Right,
going back 9,000 years ago was farmed land. And there's these big structures, not just monoliths, but also pyramids. You go right down through Central America. You go over to Asia and there's pyramids. This is going back 13,000 years. And the theories are that they were sending energy. It wasn't electricity as we know it for the purposes that we know it as, but there was energy being transported and beamed around the world, and that's what Tesla was on. Electroculture, they call it, don't they?
Well, I don't know about that, Kevin. An interesting point that you mentioned.
But going back to the thermal, when you got thermal tubes, when we go and do PV and they've got a thermal tube system, a lot of people want to take them down. So we take them down and you have these massive, great big 6-foot test tubes. So I strip it all down and we give the test tubes to schools and colleges for art projects because it's clear and they can grow a garden in there and things. It's wonderful. But the copper, I snip the copper. So we got they're about 12 foot, 6 foot high, but there's 12 foot in total, just a tube of copper. And there might be 10 of them. And what we do, we use them as garden canes.
Ah, right, I see.
Because they look nice. They're copper. And they hold up the plants. But what we've noticed is the area immediately around, so the plants that they contain are holding up, are stronger, are healthier, have got more fruit, more yield. Less aphids, less slugs around the base. So I started looking at it. Is copper seeping into the ground? What's going on? And I started learning about electroculture.
Right.
So it's basically what's happening is the copper is a conductor, and it's bringing in the positive ions or the positive energy from the atmosphere, what it's engaged with, and it transfers it directly into the soil, and that has positive effects into the plants. So I'm now working on electro transmission, beaming electricity for my project out on the river. How I'm going to beam the electricity, I haven't got a clue. But it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
So that's interesting. Where do you learn all these things then, Kevin?
I sit on the riverbank watching the tide coming in and out, going, how? What if? And the thing is, if you have a conversation, you go to a show, and people say to me, "Oh, I saw you one of your videos about the tidal wave. That's brilliant." I know a bloke who harvested energy from the river. How did he do it? So you get another introduction. I've had scientists here, people from the University of East Anglia, doing test studies on the speed and the volume and the flow rates of the river. The Royal Society spent 30 grand about 15, 16 years ago, and we built some sheds here. We built some rigs here with sonar devices, and we put them out into the river over a 6-month period to measure the flow rates, the volume, the sediment levels. But we got all the data, so we know how much energy is in the river. And I can predict tidal waves. The moon is with us 24/7. The sun is only with us 12 hours a day. So I think lunar power is because it is more. It doesn't matter if it's cloudy or windy, the tides will always change. Sometimes they'll be held up a little bit for low pressure or high pressure, but we know the exact point when tides change. It's a clock. 12 hours, 24 minutes later, everything's going to happen. So we can predict when the energy is going to arrive at our doorstep.
Well, if you can harness the tidal energy, you probably can harness everything, because most of the stuff.
Well, I think I'm such an airhead. I believe we can, between the wind, hydro, rain, sun, geothermal. How on earth, right, did the human race get to this point when we've only been abstracting fossils for 100 years? What happened for the first 3,900 years or whatever it is? We survived. We adapted. We innovated. We're losing electricity, and modern engineering has given us all these benefits. Health. Look at the way we dress. We can live. We get. We take chemicals. We take drugs. Pharmaceuticals, medicines, all petrochemical based. But what we've lost is our ability as humans to adapt and survive, and that's what. We're going to go into an era for the next 20 years where we've got it's a yin and a yang. We've got those beautiful modern cities with monorails and clean living and quiet streets for electrification. But we've lost the ability to do things ourselves because we need a button to press nowadays. Or keyboards.
Absolutely.
We need to get our hands in the dirt, and we need to embrace what with nature. That's just the way that's the way I'm going.
No, I think it's a fair point. I think the fossil fuel stimulated the whole the economy, and stimulate the energy demand as well.
When it comes to the protests and the climate campaigners, when it comes to fossil fuel, where you're sitting, we've had Dr. Charlie Gardner sitting there, Donica McCarthy. These are lead spokespeople for Extinction Rebellion, Just Stop Oil, Scientist Rebellion. They are at the forefront of climate protest. If Mr. Murdoch is going to get his window smashed in, the people who've sat in that chair have done it. I'm not advocating this. I'm not
violent. It's non-violent.
Exactly. The message is about just stop oil. If we just stop oil, we'd be put back to the dark ages tomorrow because so many people rely on a combustion engine at this moment in time. My argument is we just got to stop burning it. We need to treat oil and gas as the precious resource that it is for the benefit of humankind, not to burn to propel ourselves. That's Are you a bit of a campaigner? Do you do anything on? Because we know what you do. Why do you do it?
Well, in terms of why we get into the business, because we believe in what we do, and we believe that if we can make solar the mainstream products, it's not something that for the tree huggers, back in those days,
which is what we all were 20 years ago.
Yes, indeed.
So how does it feel today, right, from being regarded as a tree hugger and you're fucking loony.
Yes.
What? Generate electricity from the sun in England? We were all told we were mad.
That's right.
Now, I was at the forefront of selling on the mass adoption back in 2008, 2009. You're at the forefront of design and innovation, but we were quirky little... But now look at us. We've got the fastest growing, strongest economic sector in the whole of the world.
That is correct. You're absolutely
We're
right,
the only
Kevin.
industry, I think, that is growing at such a rate, outstripping every other industry.
Absolutely. Absolutely agree with you. I think, we are growing from the lifestyle choice into an essential part of modern life now, right?
Do you know what? I hadn't even considered it like that, because I've always looked at it as a lifestyle choice. I've set up my business to show people that they can embrace modern technology and natural living.
No, it
was to integrate. That was my education. I hadn't thought about it. It's now become an essential part of life.
It is essential. So you're driving an EV, I'm driving a hybrid car. It's part of the...
Two EVs. One for the wife, one for me.
Yes,
two EVs.
2 EVs.
Yeah. I'm really proud of that. I've finally ditched oil, or I've ditched diesel. 500-year-old house. We've got the old shed here. We've got electric radiator here. We used to use gas. We've got oil central heating still, but we've gone from 3,500 litres down to about 700 litres a year. We've got wood burners, we've got electric heating, and the house is now ready for an air source heat pump. Now that's a house on earthen foundations with solid walls, but I've got the EPC up to a C rating. It's taken me 20 years to do it, but we've shown that we can do it.
Yes.
I've always looked at it as a lifestyle choice, but that is a really nice way of looking at it. But as a salesman, when I go into someone's house or someone's coming here, if I say to them, this is an essential part of your life, that's actually putting a little bit of pressure on someone. So we've got to get that message out without people feeling obliged and pressured into doing it, because there are people out there that will use that and you've got to do this.
No, absolutely. That is very patronizing. We never go into that sort of approach.
But I think the attitude is right, but it's how we communicate that attitude.
Yeah. Well, the attitude is that the lifestyle has changed. Say, for example, if you go into a new home or you build a new project, you use LED light. Or you use energy efficiency stuff.
Yep.
So it's become essential part of life. So when you go to, I know it's a government regulated thing. You come by, high energy.
Yeah, but government regulation has been really good for energy reduction. I mean, I've said it before about hot fill washing machines. We can't have them anymore. They're all cold fill. Bloody EU. What? Saving our energy? Bloody EU. Light bulbs. No one can have this light bulbs. That is legislative driven, but look at the benefits we're getting from it.
Yes, indeed. Well, of course, we started because of legislations, but some other countries, say for some developing countries, if they was to build a new home or new project, they will start with low energy products, energy efficiency product, because it makes sense, right? So we don't need to go through it; it's just jump through, leapfrog to that stage. Interesting that when this climate thing become an issue.
I love the way you say this climate. That's what I use. This climate thing, the weather thing.
Well, depending, we have to be careful what we say.
It's always been an issue.
Yeah.
It's how much of an issue it is in other people's minds. You know which way it's been going for years.
Yes.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
We've not just seen it. I mean, you've seen we didn't go into the front garden, but the Environment Agency spent £300,000 on our front garden 7 years ago, rebuilding the flood defences because they can see what's happening.
Yes.
So we living on the front edge. If our garden wall collapsed, the fens flood and England doesn't eat. So, we see it.
So, you are the barometers of the climate progressions.
So I feel it. And, I'm in a privileged position. I get to show clients the real effects. Yeah. But it's getting that message across, isn't it, all the time?
So the point that I was going to say was that, when the climate thingy come up, at that point, people say, we have to change our lifestyle. So we have to cut down energy usage and, all those things, right? We have to go back into Stone Age. Now, with human ingenuities, we come up with things like that. Now we don't have to compromise our lifestyle. We can live.
I would say it enhances. I mean, when people come to me, again, when I'm in a sales mode, Mr. and Mrs. Smith are sitting here with me, and I'll say, have you got any plans for a free hot tub?
Yeah.
and they got a free hot tub. Well, you have to buy it, but it doesn't cost you anything. We've got people coming up to retirement going, we've always been put off by the cost. I said, look, you're going to be generating so much energy in the summer months, you won't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
Your cars will be filled, your batteries will be filled by 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
You'll be generating 60 kilowatt hours a day with an 8 kilowatt system in this area.
Yeah.
You're only using 6 or 7 in the middle of summer.
Yeah.
What else are you going to do with it?
Yeah.
Aircon.
Yeah.
Can't afford aircon.
Yeah.
You can.
Yeah.
It doesn't cost anything when you've got solar.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Hot tubs, electric cars.
Yeah,
it doesn't cost a penny.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you see, this is the point. You know, we don't have to compromise our life to tackle this climate issue. In fact, we improve our quality of life.
It enhances.
For example, the air quality improve. You know, if we all renewable energies, you know, then we got no fossil fuel, no pollutions. You know, the air quality improve. But you may question what is the carbon embodiment energy for making those stuff. I'll come to that point, you know, later on. But the key message is that we don't compromise our life. In fact, we improve, enhance it, as you say.
Enhance it.
Yeah.
It is a life enhancement. Okay. Next generation. The next generation. So, what kind of skills will the next generation of installers and engineers and architects need? I mean, I think we're coming together in the last 18 months, 2 years, maybe because it's what I've changed my business model and I'm now involved in this network, the Solar Nation. But we've been very fragmented. Electricians or solar technicians. And now electricians are becoming solar companies and they're not finding it as easy as what they thought either. You've got roofers. Every roofer is now a solar roofer. So we've got this integration going on, but the skills base itself, you know, there doesn't seem to be many solar training establishments.
I see.
I know there's people like Tony down in Cornwall. Is it Naked Solar?
Yeah, Tony Sampson, I think.
Tony, I'm still flirting with. I want Tony to come and join the Solar Nation as our Cornwall representative. We got Rudge Energy down in Devon, but we'd like Tony. But Tony, I was speaking to him about a year ago. He's just got a full accreditation for his Solar Roofing Academy.
I see.
It's a proper qualification for roofers to learn about integrated solar, the different types of tiles and things like that. But that seems to be coming from people like me, people from Tony. Yeah, we got Andy Berry up in the Northwest. He has an educational arm to his business. Locally, I get people come to me saying, I'm just going for my MCS certification. Can you send me an electrician and a roofer who know what they're doing just to oversee us for a day? We will allocate and we'll help other companies nurture them and bring them on. But I don't see it. Yes, I don't see it. I've seen a skills centre open up our local college last year. But this is 15 years in.
Yes, indeed.
This is where we need to be taking them straight from college or in school into college and straight on the tools.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, the solar roadmap, the government that set up, one of the key things that we identify is that is a lack of skill. If we were to grow to that sort of that deployment rate, then we have a gap. And the skill set that you mentioned, there is a gap.
So, is Viridian? Do I have a training or something? Do you have apprentices?
We have a training program for our products. Because we are manufacturers, we only train people to do our products. But we welcome people come because we from time to time we accept visitors to come to our academy. We call Viridian Academics, so we can show them how PV works and things like that. They are welcome. People are welcome to come and join us. Just contact our office if they want to.
I found most of the education comes from us in the industry trying to educate other people. I mean, I'm starting to see it, as I say, with the skill centres, the green skills centres that our college opened last year, and a few others around the country. We're starting to see it. But we really need to ram that home, and it shouldn't be down to me to take a day off a fortnight to go into a college and educate people. When I should be selling solar, fitting solar, and all the rest of it. There should be something nationally. I don't know what Mr. Miliband's are doing, but we'll get there. What about circularity within your products? Recycling, reuse, and repurposing panels. So I'm aware we've now got the country's first whole recycling plant down at Gravesend. We've got several recycling companies that will either use that facility or other facilities in France. So we've now, and I'm told that solar panels are up to 95% recyclable. There's even a company in Germany or Holland that makes solar panels out of recycled solar panels. So we've got this economy. What about your products?
Well, our products is part of the recycling scheme. So it can be, in fact, most of the products are like that, including us. So it's part of the regulation. So it can be recycled. It will be recycled at the end of the lifetime. Now you clearly have done your homework. 96% to be precise, but it's close enough. So 96% of the when I talk about PV, okay, we focus on the modules. There are some other things that we need to talk about as well. But just this piece of the equipment, up to 96% can be recycled. So the challenge is that economically viable to recycle it. So that is the challenge. And personally, I think it would come from two ways. One is that people are working how to make it more viable economically to recycle it. And secondly, you probably need some regulation as well to enforce it. A certain percentage of the PV has to be recycled.
Now, you're in quite a unique position for a business leader who's got all this experience in solar. But, you know, there's not many people who've got as much longevity in the game as you have in the UK with one company. But you've also positioned yourself on different boards, haven't you?
Yes.
So you're in a really, really unique position where you can see what's going on at board level on MCS. Do you sit on the working group?
I'm the chair of the MCS working group, but I'm a board member of the SE UK.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So SE UK. So MCS, HICE, and SE UK. They've all asked for invites to our meetings. We have our Solar Nation monthly meetings. Yeah. And that's been really, really good because what we're seeing now is instead of just the MCS put a forum on, we turn up and we all mind our P's and Q's. Our meetings are with rough end installers, professional people, really good quality. Yeah. Excuse the expression, but I don't mind throwing a few fucks. So on a Wednesday morning, once a month, we have our 90-minute meeting and we speak to innovators, manufacturers, service providers, legislative bodies, and they're getting some real good raw feedback from guys on the roofs. Yeah. Literally, some of them are on a roof during the meeting and they'll go and sit in their van just to do the Zoom meeting with us all. Yeah, yeah. And the likes of it,
first-hand feedback.
It's raw feedback. It's really, really good. And what we're trying to do now with SE UK is to get some linkage from installers because people are joining SE UK for a year and leaving. They really need to be doing. I think installers should be supporting SE UK a lot more. They don't because there's no pre-requirement. They can't really see the benefits for them. But my understanding is that the likes of Solar Energy UK, what Chris and you guys, everyone does up there, is you're literally laying the road that we drive down. If it wasn't for SE UK, for years and years and years, whispering in the ears of the politicians, sitting around those boring meetings with people with grey suits, we wouldn't have an industry to work in. And they should be supported, not just by the big finance houses who want a little bit of influence, but they should be supported by us. So, you know, I would love to see more integration that way, but I am finding that the industry is becoming it's less fragmented and it is more collegial. I don't know. It's just getting closer. There's more. I don't know. There's more partnerships. There's more networks. There's more working with each other. I think we're coming stronger because of that, but we still don't have a leadership role within you go to some industry, there are natural leaders. Now, we're all here to do a cause and we're campaigners who use this industry as a solutions based. Over the years, when people have put themselves above, you know, we need either celebrity endorsement. We need someone to represent what we're doing, rather than George Clark just representing HICE. Wouldn't he be a great ambassador for the solar industry? Where he's got the backing of all the different bodies, all the different networks, to drive that message into the homes of people, rather than just an advert that we see from these celebrities.
Well, we have a champion like yourself. You know, you're champion from Solar Nations, and there's a group
okay, some people say that, but basically what I'm doing is just a natural progression of what I've been doing for years. I'm a talker. That's what I do. I just talk about things I'm passionate about, be it community policing or renewable energy and how it's going to change people's lives.
Yeah.
It's adding resilience. Either way, either of those things. I'm an expert in those two roles.
Yeah.
And because we've all got social media and I use it, I'm seen as that. But you don't put yourselves up there. I mean, I don't venture out of the. We've met each other. We've known each other or of each other for over a decade. We've only got to know each other in the last couple of years.
Indeed.
And where's that been? That's been what I get out of this shed twice a year. I go to the summer reception for SE UK.
Yes.
And I go to XL or NEC.
Yeah.
I don't leave.
Right.
I've got the lowest mileage cars ever.
Yeah.
I'm doing no more than 4,000 miles a year traveling.
That's good for you, Kevin.
Do you know what I mean?
Your
So
carbon footprint is minimum.
So, and also, I don't make any outbound phone calls. I never have since I started business. I've always said, well, I'm never going to be accused of badgering people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anything that I do in the media, TV, radio, that's when they've come to me rather than me put myself out there.
Yes, indeed.
So, but what we need as an industry is someone who can take the flak, but can put themselves out there. And this is where I think it would be really, really good to get a really high profile celebrity into the industry. Not just we don't have any indie industry. But I just think someone who's got around that house building, around that.
Right. Okay. You got anyone in mind?
I would love to see George Clark.
Right.
People like Sarah Beanie, people like Kevin McLeod, because they've got 1 hour long programs where they've got high engagement rates, but they're also recognisable household names.
Indeed.
Ideally, what I'd like them to say is if you're looking for a solar power company in the UK, go to solarpower.co.uk because that's my website with the Solar Nation Network. But no, we do what I want people to be pointed in the direction of their local installers. If it's not one of my network, great. Go to your local people. Yeah, that's what it's all about. It's about our company support the local communities, and I want the communities to support those local people.
Yes, I think so. Well, I think collectively we should speak as a voice, and in this case, I think SUK play a major role. Solar Energy UK. Whenever the government's got any consultations, the first organization that they call will be SUK.
Yeah.
So if we all can,
but that's the same as all the press. When this is how I come to prominence about 3-4 years back, when it all kicked off, when Putin ripped his shirt off and said, "I'll show you how to sell solar."
Yeah.
He put the prices up. Electricity prices went up, so it went mad.
Yeah.
All the national press were contacting Gareth over at SE UK. And Gareth's going, well, you want to speak to installers? I'll put you in contact with Kev.
Yes.
So I'd done all the national papers for about 2 months. It was every national, double pages in the Sunday Times and all the rest of it. My inbox just absolutely was swamped. I got national advertising free of charge. It was the best thing that happened to me. But Solar Energy UK seemed to be the focal point of, if anyone needs anything, they go and speak to Chris and the guys over there, and then they disseminate out. I would just love to have more installers on board. People like Zelf manufacturers should be encouraging the installers to be members of SE UK for their input. More than insights. You get a lot of insights from them. But I think the installers have got a lot of value to add to the policymakers.
Yes.
And if we can bring these forums together through our Zoom meetings and things like that, I think it's only going to be better. We need to break down. What hurdles do you see for adoption? I think we're now at mass adoption rate. We've got everyone selling to everyone. It used to be I would sell to the public.
Yeah.
I would buy from a wholesaler.
Yeah.
The wholesaler buys from a manufacturer.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah.
Now we've got manufacturers selling to installers. We've got wholesalers selling to the public. We've got everyone wants to be a roofer. Everyone wants to be a solar roofer. So we've got to this mass adoption stage now. But we're also seeing a lot of inferior workmanship.
Okay.
A lot of inferior
That's very
workmanship.
worrying. Yeah. Why do you think so, Kevin?
The cynic in me says a lot of people look in the building game, electricians, they all know that solar's the right thing. They know, but they haven't had the competence to get into it to start with. And I'll be honest with you, because it's been said, they see people like me driving around in expensive electric cars, having a good life, and think, I want some of that. And they jump in and they all of a sudden decide they are a solar company. Facebook page, YouTube channel. They've got electrical skills. This is just another appliance to install. But it's not. It's very, very technical. The sizing of the cables, the sizing of the inverters, the safe shutdown. and then the roof itself, the measurement of roofs, the placement of products on roofs, knowing what materials to use to get the right fixings for the right roof or the right tile. All of those things have got to be learned.
Absolutely.
So this is where I would like to see more installers bringing on, partnering up with a local company and say, look, let me show you the way.
Yeah.
And then you go off.
Yes.
So you shouldn't run before you can walk.
Absolutely.
But there isn't a natural progression into the industry. You're either a solar installation company or you're not.
Yeah.
And if you want to be, you just become one.
Yeah. Yeah. I've heard about this argument before. I think this is when the MCS should come into the pictures. To prevent that, I think we should strongly encourage people to join MCS as a quality scheme. So because that is to protect the whole industry. We don't want to have a few apples to spoil the whole industry.
Oh, listen, but we've got a lot of people who join the MCS, but they're very good at filling in application forms.
Well, if Ian is from MCS is listening, then that is the next challenge for MCS.
I'll send Ian the link. So there you go. You've heard it. The head of the MCS will be getting a direct copy of this. Okay. I was going to ask. There was a few questions on here. So right. This is more of a general one. I know the answer and you know the answer, but we need to ask it.
I'm not sure.
There. So this is more about the climate adaptation. So this is about what we want to encourage people. So we often talk about mitigation and reducing emissions.
Yeah.
But adaptation is equally important. So how do we adapt to a changing climate? We adapt to the different products, help us adapt to lifestyle, things like that. So how does solar technology help homes and communities adapt to climate change specifically? How does it help us adapt? I mean, I like some of the projects I'm seeing. Howard Johns, Howard?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know
Howard Johns is back in the game, thankfully, because he left it for too long.
Yes,
he was one of the people I really looked up to. I still do. When I first joined, him and Jeremy Leggett were the two big leaders from the sales side of things. They were the two focal figures.
Yeah.
He's now doing this community scheme, isn't he? And there's a film just come out. He sponsored, The Power Station. I don't know if you've seen it.
No, I haven't seen it. No.
It's a really good project. It's about two actors who, during lockdown, they had this idea to have solar.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was the film's just been launched in the last week. It was a crowdfunded film as well.
Yeah.
And they got the whole street.
Right.
So street solar. So it's like a Solar Together program.
Yeah.
But they done it using a local installers, and they done it.
I see.
They done a crowdfunder. So everyone in the street put equal amounts in, and the whole street was done. 20 houses.
Yeah.
And Howard's now working with them, and he's running these programs all over the country, Southeast. And I'm trying to get him into the Solar Nation.
Yeah.
Because we've got 70 installers all over the country. He can set up the community schemes. We can deliver them. He doesn't need a new network. We've got that in place for him.
Yeah.
So, and people are doing that they're not all doing it just to save money. They're doing it because they've also given over car parking spaces outside in their streets to mini parks.
Right.
These are the sort of communities where they're growing trees. And the transition towns, Rob Hopkins with the transition network and things like that.
Yeah.
So, solar is a visual that helps people. It makes people feel good. But what else? I mean, we know how it changes, but for the eyes, how do we get that message across to more people for more adoption on those community systems? I mean, I've got a scheme called Street Solar where we ask for a street champion. And that champion would then do the work, community work, get 4 or 5 neighbours together. Then they come to us and we go and do a mass fit. And we want to see more of that sort of adoption and adaptation. But how do we get that message across about community? Because they wouldn't just end up with a community system. They would end up with a super neighbourhood watch. When you empower people in the community, the pride in that community goes up. And when pride goes up, care goes up. When care goes up, crime goes down. There's a whole circular about that. So I used to do the In Bloom competitions on housing estates with the gangs of Peckham planting hanging baskets for old people.
Yeah.
Guess what? Old people weren't burgled and robbed. The people who were integrating with those young gangsters.
Right. Okay.
They felt it was ownership of their territory to look after it because we gave them a job.
Right.
And I think solar can be used as a catalyst to improve communities, bring communities together.
Absolutely.
Things on. I don't know if they'd be able to do it all with Viridian solar panels, though, mate. On
Well, we can,
terraces.
yeah, we can look at it. We can look in terms of how do you run that campaign. I was just from what you say there, I was thinking, how do we make energy sort of like community projects? Now you see. Probably about 10, 20 years ago, people started to pay attention on where your food come from, where your eggs come from. Does that come from cage chickens, or would it come from a free range chickens? And with that awareness, actually the supermarket up their games, right? So, and also the quality of the animals improve. We are talking about 40 years ago. Now, the same thing can be applied for energies, because in today's terms, the energy, well, where it come from, people just don't know. People look at how much I pay per kilowatt hours, right? But if we can tell people where the energy come from and what are the consequences and the knock-on effect, just like the food thing.
You've got me thinking there about, because you're a member of the SSI as well, aren't you? Okay, for people who aren't aware, the SSI is the Solar Stewardship Initiative. Brought in about 2 years ago, 18 months ago.
Yeah.
You were born. Now, is it going to be happening this year or next year, where in Europe, the EU have adopted the SSI, haven't they?
Yes, they're campaigning very hard for Brussels to adopt it.
No solar company in those EU member states will be able to fit solar panels that aren't SSI accredited. I think that's the way it's going.
That is what they plan to achieve. Yes.
So the SSI is the Solar Stewardship Initiative. It's where a panel manufacturer has an independent third-party audit by the SSI, and you get the declaration to say that you've got no slave labor, no child labor, none of the Uyghur Muslims, because the argument is about the Chinese camps, isn't it? The re-education camps, we'll call them, and the cheap and slave labor. But your company is a member of the SSI, or you've been accredited.
In fact, we are one of the founding members.
We are
one of the founding members of SSI,
and
we work very actively towards that direction. When I mentioned the responsible sourcing, is you mentioned an issue. That's one of them. Actually, responsible sourcing includes quite a whole range. Everything else,
it's not just the panel; it's where the materials are mined,
where the materials come from, and going through what process, right? So the ESG, you got the environmental issues, the governance, and also the social aspect of it. So it's a very holistic approach to look at the whole thing. And one issue that you touch is an important one, but I think we should look at the whole spectrum as well. So when I mentioned about where the energy come from, like where the food come from, is that got one element, and also the carbon footprint as well. The other elements. So the consumer is fully aware of what they are getting. So like what we are drinking, what we are eating.
So it's not just about how much you're going to get and what's your payback. Let's look about the social governance of these products. I mean, I'm quite big at explaining the SSI. I'm really proud that I'm in the position I am within the network that I've formed, because we don't set rules. Every company is its own company, but we are first of all, we're based on longevity. So you've got to be a member, you've got to be trading for 5 years before we allow people in. A few exceptions. Josh King, for example, where I had to let Josh King in because he was a new company, but he'd been around for 15 years with AES and all the rest of it. So we've got a few exceptions, but one of the things that I go through is I've got 32 questions when we're on board, and there's only 4 or 5 questions about their actual competency. It is all about the ethos of the company, the ethics of the company, and their processes, the pre-sale information and the post-sale customer service from the handover onwards. I want companies that are exceptional communicators, exceptional in their customer service delivery. And one of the things I'm now saying to every member is we're really, really strong on the ethics, and we want you to make sure you only have SSI accredited panels. And a lot of installers who are coming to me are saying, what's the SSI?
Right.
Oh my God. I get emails from MCS, from Solar Energy UK. We know they're not plugged into the same, and this is where the bodies seem remote sometimes from the deliverers. And what we need to do is to bring them all together. But I think it's really important for the public. If anyone who's watching this who's not in our industry, if you are thinking about having solar, look your installer or your salesman or woman surveyor in the eye and say, where do these panels come from? Yeah, not just is it a Chinese company, is it a British company, is it a German company or American company, but where does the glass come from? Where does the silicon come from? Have they got any? Because JA have got a really good traceability, haven't they, as well?
They have their own system. So they have their own system. So if I were to elaborate a little bit on the traceability,
Please,
is that, in solar PV, if we're talking about the cell, there are several tiers, what we call. It can go up to tier 7 or tier 8, depending how you go. And during certain part of that tiers, this is where the concern come from about the human right concern. Now, all those things can be overcome. Again, go back into the modern technologies, right? So everything is it can be digitally tracked, those things. So if we can trace them and then have the correct change of custody from one to another, then precisely, go back to the food, precisely, that the eggs that you eat come from which farm, come from which chicken.
Do you know, this is really good actually, because I know from day one in PV, in 2000, April the 1st, 2010, when the feed-in tariff started, we fit our first one a couple of months before that. It was the old Blue Sky grant, I think it was, or Clear Sky.
Yeah.
Took over. One of the things that I've always said, because it was part of the sales process, is we talked about the traceability, but it wasn't about the traceability of from the ethics point of view. It was about the compliance to make sure that they're MTS accredited pushers. And what brought this to light was our installers, the companies I've always aligned with. Every job that gets installed, I get about 40 pictures afterwards. So I get the cable run, with the labels.
Yes,
double hat. So we've got the cable run. I've got absolutely everywhere where it's all encased. I've got the serial numbers of every single panel that we've ever fitted. So every single panel is traceable. I was having a conversation in the WhatsApp group for the Solar Nation the other day. And somebody said the MCS or someone has asked for pictures on absolutely everything. And I'm going, well, isn't that what we do anyway? Apparently some of the people aren't doing that. Really? There's roofers out there that aren't doing that. I mean, all of our guys now are. But there must be hundreds, if not 1,000 solar installers out. They do not know what panel is where.
Really? Okay.
I was quite shocked. I just thought I was watching another podcast. There's a I won't name it. There's some really good people out there doing some really good podcasts because they're very. But I want to do more on the climate, and they're not. So I don't. There's a lot of. They're electricians. But there was something the other day. And there was quite a valid thing they were saying. It was about they'd gone to a house and the customer just didn't know what they had. There'd been no handover, and that company had now gone bust. And this bloke had gone in. He said, "Surely there must be something." I think, hold on. When we set up a company, we were really hammered hard. We had a 2-day training with REC because as a direct sales company. We were starting the industry. We were starting to develop a market, and REC wanted to know that we were absolutely on it. So we had Virginia Graham and all sorts coming in and teaching us. And we were told because they said we're going to dip sample. We're going to dip sample every or maybe 1 in 10 installations, and we will ask them questions. So we thought, shit, we're going to lose our license and our accreditations if we don't say from the Bible. So we didn't have a sales pitch. We had the REC guide.
Right.
And we would literally pitch from that. And we would say to people about, we take pictures of absolutely everything. We know where things come from. The installer on the day, he or she will spend half an hour going through safe shutdown, the monitoring, set you up on the app, the monitoring. And then we've got this little thing. I've been doing this for 15 years. I say, look, just because I'm not there, don't think I've taken the money and run. What I want you to do is to start writing an email with all of your questions from the day it goes in. But don't pick up the phone and speak to me for 2 weeks. Learn from the app, learn to adjust your behavior, see what happens. And any of those questions that don't answer themselves, that's when you phone me up and I come around for a cup of coffee and we have a close. And that's always been a nice close from a salesman, but it's actually a true practice that would put in. I genuinely believed everybody was doing that. They fucking don't.
No.
And these two guys are sitting there going, it bemuses me, but why aren't the MCS saying they should be doing this? I think the MCS,
The MCF
or Rex,
does,
they
should be doing it.
They should.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
and
you see, you mentioned an interesting one. Some people treat it as a box ticking exercise. By the sound of it, you don't. By the sound, you don't, because you see the value. You see the value.
Because everyone I meet, I want to turn them into a solar salesman or woman.
Yeah,
that's my job, is to turn everyone I meet into an advocate, so they can go and spread the glory of the sun.
You see the value in it, but this is also the criticism that the people place on MCS. Is too much paperwork there. But remember, we live in a day that where when people order drinks or food, they take pictures and stuff like that. So mobile technologies can help with it, right? Modern technologies. So as you go along, when you say a box ticking exercise, it's a phone ticking exercise. If you got the right apps and things like that. So the modern technologies can take away all the boring thing, but still captures the essential information.
To me, talking to members of the public about what you've just done for them and how they're going to get the most out of it. Maybe because I'm a salesman, I see the value in that, because they're going to go around and say, Kevin Ogden, what a bloody good bloke he was.
Yeah.
And in the back of my mind, that is part of the service that I give, because I want to make sure that I get recommendations.
Yes.
But I genuinely thought that everybody done a proper handover walkthrough, and had this system in place where we will go back after. One of the questions I asked is, what on your customer handover? I was like, right, we put the pack up, we spend time, we sit down for a cup of tea. It's not always easy at 4 o'clock in the winter when it's dark and cold and you want to get home, you're 90 miles away. We understand that. But there should be at least a follow-up phone call a day or two after installation with a not a where's your money? It's right, are you happy with how we communicated? Are you happy with what you've got? Do you understand what you've got?
There's another element of consumer protections. I was called as an expert witness for some fraudulent cases.
I saw 17 million pounds worth of solar. I've done my research.
I'm not going to go into the details, but
I will. I've got it here.
There are people who actually try to con the customer. So to have a system like that, you make sure that, as a consumer, I want to see it. So when you say you install Viridian panel, I want to see that paperwork, right? Yeah. So it's not only a protection for the products and the service, it's a protection for the consumer themselves.
I think it's really, really important. It goes back to something. I mean, everything we do is an advert for the industry, as far as I'm concerned. So beforehand, it was all about, I wanted to be the biggest solar company locally. I wanted to be the go-to guy. So businesses have an ego when they first start, and sometimes you manufacture that ego because it's not in your nature. I mean, I've always been an orator. I've always been a talker. Hopefully it's not egotistical, but I'm passionate about educating. From experiences. Only on my experience. I like to share experiences. With regards to the delivery of information, it might be because some people are just absolutely brilliant at what they do, hands and in the head, but they're really shy and not. Do you know what I mean? But you've got to have that. On my roofer, he said to me years ago, must be 9-10 years ago, it changed my outlook completely. He says, Kev, this is not an advert. This doing a house. He says, I said, that looks stunning, Rob. I can't wait to get my advertising board up there. He says, this is not an advert for your business. This is not an advert for you or me. This is an advert for the solar industry. And everything I'd learned, everything just went click. I thought, fucking, of course it is. Of course it is. Because we can turn a whole village, around here it's all villages, we can turn a whole village off of solar by one crap install.
Absolutely.
But we can all make everyone want solar by having, I'd rather see a smaller unshaded system than a larger shaded and chip system, if you know what I mean. And since I had that attitude 9-10 years ago, the outlook changed, but it puts a lot of pride. We're one of those companies that will, every single job, we will give it 2 days, or if it's a 2-day job, we'll give it 3 days, just in case. We know we can do it in 6 to 8 hours. We know we can. It's bread and butter. It's what these guys do on a daily basis. They roof bashed it. 15 years ago, they were doing 10 hours in a week. They've done all of those projects. We take time and we take care. And it is nice to have that attitude that our business is an advert for the industry, not just for ourselves.
Indeed. Well, one challenge is that, Kevin, that's why we are quite active in social media. I try to be active on social media as well, just precisely for that reason. But say, for example,
Fusion Friday on Twitter. Have a look at hashtag Fusion Friday and see some wonderful examples for the last 10 years of on Fridays. Viridian, they put out some beautiful in-roof systems. So there's some great stuff.
No, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Kevin. Now, the challenge is that, say, on my LinkedIn, all my followers, they are all in the same industry. So we are preaching to the converts.
But
so
we
the challenge is
educating each other.
We are educating. So the challenge is, how can we break away from that bubble?
Right. Okay. So I've been really good at this. So my previous job before I was in solar, I was head of communications for Norfolk Constabulary. Only done it for a few weeks. Before that, after 9/11, I was running a communications system in central London on behalf of counter-terrorism and Westminster City Council. So I was the official police broadcaster of information. And we built our own communication systems before the days of Facebook and Twitter. So we used email. So when I left, I used to speak to about 3.5 million people daily, just by writing an email, press and send. And I could send it to geographical areas, or I could send it to industry specifics. So if it was a problem about hotel crime, I could send it to all the hotel managers. Or if it was about walk-in thefts in offices, I'll send it to all the facilities managers who could speak to 300,000 people by pressing forward. To all. So it was about communication channels. So to me, when I got into solar in 2007, 2008, social media was just kicking off. So I had them both at the same time, which created that persona of I've always been around because I was just there. So what I learned very early, because I don't like spending money on Facebook, on Twitter advertising. So what I did was I built a Facebook page and I used it to connect with other local village Facebook pages. So I become a group member, not me, Kevin Holland, but the Solar Shed. So when people are talking about, see, Aldi is getting 6 new car charging points for people to wait there 24 hours and the cars are going to blow up because they've been reading the Daily Mail. I'll go on and say, that was a story from 15 years ago about one car. Are you aware that ICE cars have got a 17... There's you've got a 1 in 17 chance. I forget the percentages, but I'll give the percentages about car fires. And then I'll say, are you aware of fast chargers? Are you aware that you don't need to use the public network? Whereas at the moment, 100% of ICE drivers need to go out to get fuel, where only about 30% of EV drivers need to go out and get fuel because we charge at home. So I use the page to push back against the FUD. And I found that my page being part of the community is what's really helped. So I'm a member of the Business Improvement District in Kings Lynn. And one of the things I've done is use the Solar Shed profile to go into the WhatsApp group of 200 businesses and say, does everyone want to give me £100 or can half a dozen of you give me £100 each, please? And we will buy the trees at the hospital for Christmas. So with the businesses, and by using modern technology, modern media, if we use our business profiles to communicate with the community for the improvement programs, it might be an event in town, rather than Kevin Holland, I find that the business is part of that community and is educating all the time.
I see.
And so I use it very different. Most people just put an advert up, get a film, and then pay 1,500 quid to promote themselves. That's not how you run a community-based company.
Well, it seems like you got very good strategies. I think we are living in a very polarized world now. You got two camps.
No, we're not.
So people either you believe or not. In modern days, we can go into another hours of podcast, but that is a fact. We live in very polarized.
The politicians and the media have done that to people
on every topics. I think if you ask my humble opinions, it's probably social medias with the algorithm and stuff like that. So
I'm going to push back on that. I've got to. It's the people who are using social media. The way I look at social, I know this is a common thing because Mr. Musk has said it recently, but going back 15 years, I was saying this. Twitter is no more than a public street. Some people choose to sit in the gutter. I walk past them. I walk past. Some people stand and argue with them. Some people will spit at them. I walk past them. And that's the way to look at your timeline on Twitter. Just walk past it.
Well, of course, it's at the end, it's down to the user, people who how to use it.
The block button is very powerful. I feel like God. I can just block. They don't exist anymore. Got rid of them.
But essentially, we live in a very polarized world. And that is quite sad, I think. There's
we're quite lucky because in solar, as you know, we're all brothers and sisters under the same sun. But that's exactly what we do, isn't it? Solar is a universal energy source for everyone. Doesn't matter where you are on the planet, there is an average over the course of a year of 12 hours of daylight given by the sun.
Oh, well, this is something that I always argue, Kevin, is that people argue about sun's unpredictable and things like that. I say for the last 4.6 billion years, there's one thing that never failed to wake up every morning, precisely down to second.
Over the years, people like Jason at Stratford Energy.
I know Jason. The
solution rises every day. That was his company slogan back in 2010. This is how I first met Jason. In fact, I've only met him once, I think.
Right.
But I've known him. I'm going to say he's one of my bestest solar friends. I've known him for 15 years. And he started with his the solutions rise every day. At the same time, I was turning daylight into money. So
he's not wrong. He's not wrong.
Neither of us are. But I mean, that's So I think social media can be a real benefit. I mean,
but I like your ideas about the community projects.
I think the community works really well.
Where you have to go in, you personalize it rather than as a company.
I'll tell you, on a community project, we've got a little bit of division. We've got different opinions within our Solar Nation group. So we're working on a project. You're going to hear a lot in the news about VPPs, virtual power plants. And that's where lots and lots of owners of solar systems with their energy companies or AI companies are allowing the solar trading, buying and selling of energy to suit you. So most people could earn another £400 or £500 a year from a VPP. So we've got a meeting on Wednesday with the Solar Nation about setting up what could potentially be the country's biggest VPP. Because between all of our members, we must have over 40,000 batteries.
Right.
And all we need to do is communicate with the owners of those batteries and say, look, we've got this system in place. If you want to earn another £300 to £400 and stop pissing around with the settings yourself, send this bloke an email, give him your password and log on. He'll sort it all out, no cost. And they get money. There's a little tiny residual income for the Solar Nation members to do that. Now, we could voluntarily give it back to the customer, but the deal is for the Solar Nation member, or not any installer that gets involved, not just Solar Nation, but through Solar Nation. A couple of our members have said they wouldn't feel comfortable sitting in front of a customer selling something that they're going to get benefits on, not just for solar system, but for trading, a residual income on top, and they're going to get some. He wouldn't feel comfortable. That's really ethical. That's genuinely honest, and I love that. My attitude is, at the moment, I'm spending my company profits on, I've just paid last week 750 quid for 6 months worth of league sponsorship for the West Norfolk Football League. And in January, I'll do another 750 quid. And I'll do that every 6 months, 750 quid, 1,500 quid a year, and I'm now in my third or fourth year. If I can get a little bit of an extra income from something that I've set up within that community, where that person, let's say I've got 4 people in one village who are all doing that aggregation. That might give me an extra £100 a month. Well, I can give that £100 a month to the local children's play equipment appeal. I can give it to for a WI coffee morning. I can give it to a cinema club. I can sponsor events in that village. If that community support me, I will pay it back and support them rather than taking it as dividends and all the rest of it. So there are really, really good innovations coming out with AI and the way technology is being used, which you were going on about earlier, where we can actually start to generate an income for that community as well. So that's something we're going to be talking about on Wednesday, and I'm going to be pushing really hard for that, because I think it would also be nice to say the Solar Nation's got the country's biggest VPP.
Right. Okay. How many members you got now?
We've got, in total, we've got 44 residential. installers, 11 commercial installers,
Right.
and 11 specialists.
Right.
Plus, we've got a few people like Suki. We've got a few people who are consultants.
Independent consultants.
Independent, but they've been around the industry for so long. They've got so much knowledge. It would be a shame to have people like them not involved. We want to get better as individuals and as companies, and that if that can drag the industry up, then that's good. So sharing knowledge, that's what we're all about, is sharing experience. I thought I know everything about sales after 18 years. No, I'm learning every day from people. And we've got some great sales guys in this industry. And we've got some great engineers and innovators and people who care passionate about their community. We've got the whole mix. In total, we've got 72 members.
Right. Okay. Brilliant.
I would like to get to 100 by February. That's because I've got 1 year left before my police pension kicks in, and I want to start slowing down on the solar shed side of things.
I can see your grand plan there. Yeah.
I'm going to go full time. So I've done 18 years in policing, 18 years in solar, and within my field, you couldn't get much more experienced or much more passionate about them. So what I want to do is put the two together. So we've got 36 years worth of network building, crime reduction, community enhancement, resilience training, education and awareness, and renewables, and the reasons why we need to do it. But I'm also not just passionate enough, but educated enough as an orator to get that message across to an audience. So, my next 18 years. My missus got 18 years. I thought you were going to retire when you were 60. I feel like a kid with a new toy at the moment. The Solar Nation is a really nice project. It's really nice. And now that we've started it, you can't just stop something like that. That is something like the MCS, it's like REC, it's like all the other things. It has to stay. We're talking to, I can't say who, but we've started a conversation about Solar Nation members getting a 15-year workmanship warranty. Uniquely, it's been offered to us. We're being offered wholesaler deals from manufacturers. We're not a lead generating website, but have just been offered to sub for one of the energy companies. Can't say which one. 1,000 houses for next year.
Right. Okay.
And people come to me, and then I divvy it out across the whole of the country to our members. And those companies are coming to us because they know that the companies I've got as members have got a minimum of 5 years trading, and the ethos behind what I've been doing for years is embedded into the Solar Nation. I can't just set something like that up, make a few quid and then disappear. No, you can't. That's a legacy for all of us. Yeah. But also, it's the words, isn't it?
Yes,
it's nice
indeed.
to create a Solar Nation. That winds people up, you know.
How did you come up with the name?
It started a drunken tweet. About 12 years ago, we were talking. I'll tell you who it was. It was Thomas Newby, myself, Jason from Stratford Energy, and a few others. Chris Rudge, Rudge Energy. So Simon Harrop's got his company now, but there's a few of us, and we were talking about diversifying because the feed-in tariffs were just about to disappear or cut in 2012, 2011, 2012. So we used to all get together on Thursday nights during question time.
Right.
So question time used to be a really good trend line on Twitter.
Yeah.
And we would all dive in.
Yeah.
And we have our company names and have a political argument, and we'd attract attention.
Yeah.
So somebody was talking about what we're going to do in the March when all the feed-in tariffs go up, because we've been around since before feed-in tariffs, and we sold on the back of the Russians turning the gas pipes off, the Chinese eating all the energy, all the resources. Yeah. What are we going to do? Yeah. Then we had feed-in tariffs, and now we haven't got feed-in tariffs. So I said, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to get into glamping. Because if I can get into glamping and do small-scale solar, the glamping industry is between March and October. Solar's crap from October to March. So I'll pigeonhole myself. So I've got a few gigs, and I was sort of the lead speaker at the first glamping show, and I was thrown into the glamping. Right, I see. Thomas Newby said, I'm going to get involved in accessories for EVs and EV charging. Yeah. Well, EVs? It's 2011, Thomas. Mad. Fucking, all right, Tom. Then look what he did. Right. Yeah, he went and built the network. Was it Best Western Hotels? He got the contract to put the first EV infrastructure place in. He was right. Yeah. So I got into the small scale glamping, and because the people in glamping started following what I was doing, There was lots of really good humoured conversation. And somebody said one night about, what we need is to give you a moniker. And someone said, you should be Solar Kev from the Solar Shed. So I thought, brilliant, Solar Kev from the Solar Shed who turns daylight into money. It fits on a tweet.
Yeah.
It fits on a strap line.
Yep.
That people will identify it. So I go to networking meetings. Everyone stands up and gives a 1 minute spiel.
Yeah.
And I say, hello, I'm Solar Kev from the Solar Shed and I turn daylight into money. And I sit down.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to know what I do and how I do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So on Twitter, somebody said, Kev, what you need to do, Solar Kev needs an action figure. Solar Kev needs his own wallpaper, his own bedspread and all this sort of stuff. You know, you can get Superman stuff and all that. And I thought, that's hilarious. And I've said, yeah, we're going to create a Solar Nation, hashtag and then Solar Nation, and just left it.
Right. I see.
But it's always been there.
Yeah.
So then I started talking about, you know, I do this thing on LinkedIn on a Monday morning. Charge! Come on, boys, we've got a planet to save. Charge is like call to arms. So Solar Kev's over the top of the trenches sort of thing. Yeah. And it sort of developed from there because I'm going to create a Solar Nation. So when we started talking about putting our mates together as this network, which was very informal to start with, we were, if someone landed on my website 150 miles away, when we were really quiet, we would have taken that job. When we're really busy, I've got a mate 150 miles away who's only 2 miles from that client. I'll give him that work. I don't want anything for it. I trust he will do it as well as we would. So that's how it all started.
I see.
So, and it's just developed from there. And I just naturally called it the Solar Nation Assured Installer Network because we are creating a Solar Nation.
Yeah.
The problem is everybody in the industry is creating a Solar Nation, but we've got the moniker of that name and that winds a few people up. Why does he create a Solar Nation? Why can't I? Well, you can.
Yeah.
You can use those words as well if you want.
Absolutely.
It's up to you, but you'll use them. Yeah. And our network has actually got trademarks on it and all the rest of it. So it's maybe I should have called it something else. I don't know, but it's certainly captured the attention of the industry. And it's only in recent weeks I've realized how, I'm going to say, important it is to a lot of installers. I mean, for some of the guys, they say, Kev, how do I get into your network? And I said, well, yeah, you know, we go through the onboarding. And so I'm not interested in leads. I'm not interested in presentations. I'm so busy. Yeah. I want to be part of your WhatsApp group. Yeah. We've got over 100 of the best minds in the industry in that, and they're practical on the tools every day in that network. We'll have a guy on a roof on a Monday morning, up in Derbyshire, for example, and he'll take a picture and go, I can't believe I never identified this from the ground floor when I've done the survey. Has anyone got any help? This is a composite Cotswold grey or whatever. And someone will go, where are you? He'll go, so-and-so. And we'll go, 10 years ago, I done a house in a village just around the corner from there, and this is what we did. Everyone knows every other's territory. Yeah. So we're sharing that sort of information. Everyone's helping each other. We've started building a directory where everyone's got a Google form and their job is to put one member of their contact book, press submit, and that goes into a shared directory. So it doesn't matter if I'm working in Manchester, in Devon or Ipswich or here in Kings Lynn. I've got courier services, I've got export brokers, I've got scaffolders, I've got cleaning services. You name it, we've got a category for it, and it's everyone else's. So we're making a network of networks. Yep. So we're building this super network of people who can just help each other's installation companies, either for quick fixes or long-term solutions. Yeah, it's really, really good what we're doing. Yeah, really
well, that sounds interesting. Now, if each of them got at least minimum 5 years and you got 100 members, so collectively you got half a millenniums.
I worked out. There's over 700 because there's a lot of us who've got 15, some of it 18 years.
Okay, so it's nearly 1 millennium.
Yeah, so we got that at the time when I've done it about 5 months ago. It was this year. We had 752 years of trading between us, and over 10,000 years of man and woman hours of people within those companies. We got one company with 70 members. We've got AES Solar up in Scotland.
Oh, right. Yeah.
We've got Jamie, We've got Perfect Sense Energy. Yeah. These people have got 4-story blocks. Sure. You know, these are big, big businesses. Yeah. We've got companies that have got 5 or 6 people. We've got people like me. We employ 3 people, but my partner network, my installation, he's got 9 people. We do a lot of air source heat pumps and things. So they do my solar and air source and other heating. But so Steve has got 9 people to manage. But both of us, me and Steve, Climate Safe Renewables is my installation partner. We're both second generation companies.
Right.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
He's got his 3 sons in his. I've got one of mine, and Saul, my other son, will, when he comes back from Australia, hopefully get involved.
Right.
And in the network, we've got 7 second generation solar companies. That's really nice.
Yes.
Do you know Low Energy Services, Jason Lowe?
Jason Lowe, yeah.
So we've got Jason Lowe up in Scotland. He's in there as well.
Yeah.
Star Solar.
Right.
In Staffordshire. David's company, Emily, the daughter, she now runs it. So that's a second generation company. Right. And that's really, really nice. Paul Rowlands in Worcestershire, Rowlands Renewables.
Yeah.
Very small family-based company, been around about 10 years.
Yeah.
Again, he's got his daughter and son-in-law, or son and daughter-in-law, but they're his back office and support team.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And that's really nice. I still feel like it's a brand new industry. I'm excited to get out of bed.
Yeah, it changes every day. You've got new stuff coming in every day.
Yeah, and here we are. We've now got 7 in our network. We've got 7, which is 10% of our members are second generation solar companies. That's really nice. That's lovely. Yeah. And some of the guys in the network, they want to be part of it because it's more like a help group. It's the self-help group. It can be a lonely experience. If I'm sitting here in January and I haven't seen anyone for a week, it can be a lonely experience when you're surrounded by screens giving you nothing but negativity. It can be a very lonely experience in our industry with all the no's that we get on the sales side of things. Dipping into the WhatsApp group. It's a really nice experience, and it's a bit of a mental support group as well.
Yes, indeed. Well, I think we are stronger when we are together.
Definitely.
So the nation as well. Naturally, we are sort of a tribal. We like to live together as a group. So you've got nations, you form countries.
Exactly.
And that is what you give the strength. And also, we talk about...
but also on that, when it comes to social media, I get to fly flags on social media, and they seem to be quite popular at the moment.
Yeah.
If I put a George Cross for the English solar installers, or the Union flag for the British solar installers, or the Saltire for the Scottish, we get more interaction. Because people like flags.
Indeed.
So I'm going to abuse that fact. I'll exploit it.
Exploit, not abuse. Exploit
it. You've got to, haven't you?
Very good. Very good.
Listen, I've really enjoyed this conversation. I haven't got a clue how long we've been talking. And I'm hoping that the camera's still recording.
If your memory is still there.
We are just about to find out. But Dr. K.T. Tan, thank you so much for coming over.
Thank you very much, Kevin.
Absolutely brilliant. And now I've got to press this button and hopefully it all stops. We'll soon see. Let's just hope that was all recording.
Got it? How long was it?